Hey everyone, it's Dakota. I recently had a Foxfire version 1.1 printed. It's a blaster system created by 498 Nerf, and it's essentially a strife replacement that's been designed from the ground up with the modding community in mind. I also gave mine a silly paint job to somewhat resemble an actual fox. I thought it was fitting given the name. I did encounter some issues that I'll discuss in a bit, but overall I'm very happy with it. Foxfire's primary feature is that it's not just one solid piece, but rather it consists of modular components that can be mixed and matched. The three components are connected by a hook and slot system, a set of screws, and either XT60 or Dean's connectors for the wires. Currently, I don't own any extra Foxfire components, but even without them, there's only 6 screws to be removed for access to the motors and flywheels, whereas the strife forces you to disassemble the entire blaster, with 15 screws for any type of drop-in internal mod. Although the design of the Foxfire platform allows for all 3 segments to be detachable with wires, I decided to use a single longer set of wires for the motor and magwell housing. That way, it's still compatible with my strife, which also uses Dean's connectors for the drop-in motor cages. Another feature that separates Foxfire from a strife is that it makes much more effective use of space. You don't need to cut out extra space for your battery. The wiring channels are conveniently located as to not interact with any moving parts, and the micro switch is friction fit, so there's no need for epoxy putty or hot glue. The only major cutting I did was to install a voltmeter above the battery tray, and I wouldn't consider that completely necessary, although having a friction fit voltmeter slot there would be nice for a future version. The removable motor cage housings are also compatible with 180 size motors in 1, 2, or even 3 stage configurations depending on the variant. Now, for some of the issues I ran into while building this. You may have noticed that I'm using a broken screw as a standoff for the pivot arm. That standoff was originally 3D printed, but it actually broke off as I was testing the trigger components for the first time. I'm not sure if this is an inherent design flaw or a bad print, but either way, I think the original pivot point could be more reinforced in future versions. Next, some of the tolerances on the print were far too tight. Again, I'm not sure if this is a design problem, but either way, it's an issue that was easily corrected by some sanding. I ended up sanding down inside the magwell, the sides of the battery door, and the points where the grip connect to the main assembly. It was also necessary to round out the edges of the pusher and add some silicone grease, since the square edges were catching on the sides of the channel and causing the trigger to stick. Additionally, the blaster still has a few ergonomic issues that need sorting out. The mag release lever is placed such that it seems to be incompatible with 18 dart stick mags. The lever is also in a position that's blocked by a protruding section of the magwell, so it's out of reach for the finger that you use for your rev switch. And the lack of any real foregrip and rounded edges anywhere in the blaster leaves much to be desired as far as comfort goes. One last thing I should mention is that the screw holes for the magwell housing did not match the screws in the hardware kit. I ended up purchasing some longer screws at the local hardware store, and also drilled out the screw ports to make them wider. Overall, I really love the Foxfire and its entire modular design philosophy. I think it has enormous potential to become a versatile strife alternative in the modding community, but it still needs a few more tweaks in order to get there. Granted, it still seems to be early in its design phase.